Welcome to this edition of the IAAI CFITrainer.net podcast. Today, we're looking back on some of the biggest issues in fire investigation in 2018. Wildfires made headlines in 2018, particularly the Camp Fire in November. The Camp Fire was the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in the history of California, and one of the worst in the nation's history. 86 people were killed, and 3 remain missing. It destroyed the town of Paradise, wiping out more than 18,000 structures and over 153,000 acres. The Camp Fire remains under investigation, especially with regard to whether or not noncompliance with state regulations and poor maintenance by Utility Pacific Gas and Electric Company caused the fire. The difficult 2018 fire season in the western United States left many questions in its wake, including how to mitigate the effects of smoke and ash on large population centers like San Francisco, the expansion of the wildfire urban interface that brings humans in close proximity to areas with high fire danger, how to predict the spread of fires, and movement of smoke. Also, the need to better address human activity as the cause of 90% of our wildfires, and whether climate change is playing a role in fire season duration and intensity. Vehicle technologies are evolving rapidly, and 2018 seemed to be a tipping point year. Electric and hybrid vehicles became more common. Autonomous vehicles are now out on the nation's highways in limited and test deployments and became involved in their first crash incidents. The need for fire investigators to update their training to include hybrid and electric vehicle systems is becoming critical, both from a safety perspective and from a cause perspective. Safety training on hybrid and electric vehicles is available from ResponderSafety.com and from the NFPA. The Responder Safety Learning Network also offers an introduction to connected and autonomous vehicles. This year, IAAI is hoping to expand on its existing modules on fire investigation involving traditional vehicles with new information on hybrid and electric vehicle fires as well. Fire flow research by groups like UL, NIST, and the ATF continues to be a crucial topic affecting the fire service as the training in these findings ramped up in the last few years. The research is changing the way the fire service attacks and ventilates structure fires, which in turn affects the patterns that fire investigators see when they conduct an investigation. The research into fire behavior in structures also has important conclusions regarding ventilation effects that are of particular interest to fire investigators as they determine fire origin, including the possibility of significant damage around ventilation openings and along fire flow paths due to the physics of gas and heat flow. Look for a new module on fire flow from CFITrainer debuting this spring. Cancer and disease prevention for fire investigators also came to the forefront in 2018 with the release of the IAAI Health and Safety Committee's white paper titled Fire Investigator Health and Safety Practices. Occupational exposure to hazardous substances is a real concern for fire investigators, and the IAAI is committed to helping fire investigators understand how to reduce their risk. Check out the white paper and other health and safety resources on firearson.com using the link on this podcast page. Finally, our most popular CFITrainer.net podcast for 2018 was actually a news roundup from June, where we covered the lack of fire protection in short-term rentals like Airbnb, a new hazardous gas detecting sensor for use in fire prevention on spacecraft, and the overheating of lithium-ion batteries in e-cigarettes and vape pens. That tells us that our listeners are hungry for information on new and emerging issues, so we'll keep that in mind as we set our programming schedule for 2019. As always, we welcome your feedback on the podcast, and we use that input to help guide the topics we cover. Drop us a line using the feedback form on this podcast page. Now some news from the IAAI. The 2019 IAAI International Training Conference and Expo from April 14th to the 19th in Jacksonville, Florida is rapidly approaching. Now's the time to register for the conference and make your travel plans. You don't want to miss the opportunity to get dozens of hours of training in one shot. You can also network with your colleagues and see the latest and greatest tools available to you as a fire investigator. Go to IAAIITC.com to see the course offerings and register today. By the way, if you're new to the IAAI's more than 10,000 members and you're interested in going to the ITC, check your email for a special offer for first-time attendees. Thanks for joining us today on the podcast. Stay safe. We'll see you next time on CFITrainer.net. For the International Association of Arson Investigators and CFITrainer.net, I'm Rod M.